Hi everyone. Sorry I'm late. It is 4:32. Mark, I'm sorry. I was trying to figure out a dress to wear to my daughter's wedding and I lost track of the time. Hi everybody. We're going to be just chatting with Mark Hyman about how to continue eating healthy. And he's going to be joining us momentarily. Anyway, I'm really sorry. I'm a little bit late. You guys, please send me your questions. I know we've been gathering them from social media. And let me just see if Mark is here. Here he is. I think I did this. I'm back in New York City. Really happy to be home. Although I miss Los Angeles. I have to say it was incredible being in California during this time. Hi, Jennifer Fisher. Anyway, hi, Mark. Sorry to keep you.
Hi.
I
No
was
worries. No
I was
worries.
out, Ellie, my daughter is getting married on
Yeah.
the 4th of July, and I'm trying to figure out what to wear to her wedding. And I got
Well,
him.
hopefully now you need a new dress
Oh,
after being on the Pegan diet, right? You need a new dress because you're skinny.
well, listen, I want to say I feel so much better. I did it for 21 days. Everyone who follows me knows that I did fall off the wagon one day because it was our last day in LA, Mark. I really wanted to try these sidecar donuts, and I know that's not.
Oh.
Oh, but
How did
honestly,
you feel? Were they good?
I want to talk to you about this
Did they bring
because
you joy? Did they bring you joy?
I have to say, Mark, bring me, anyway,
They did or
so
they didn't? They didn't?
it's delicious, and I just want to
Oh.
encourage people. I've been eating really healthy and I do feel much better. And I want to talk to you about all that. But once in a while, you can kind of slip up and kind of, I went a little crazy that one day and now I'm back to eating healthy again.
That's right. That's good. You don't have to be perfect. That's the whole point. You just don't have to be perfect. I mean, you should give yourself a little window where you really see what it feels like when you change your diet and how well you can feel and all the symptoms that you go around with when you feel like crap that you don't have to have. But once you sort of understand that, then you get to play around a little bit and not be so restrictive. And that's the whole idea of the Pegan diet. It's kind of inclusive. There's even a section there on how to treat sugar as a recreational drug. So it's okay. It's okay occasionally.
But whoops, I was definitely high on sidecar donuts and I enjoyed them. Back to healthy eating because a lot of people went on the Pegan plan with me. I was so excited to share it with my followers. I have to say I've been feeling a lot better. My joints are less achy. And I just have in general had more energy. And so but this is the question, Mark. After the 21-day reset, I would love to know. My audio's breaking up. I'm so sorry. Can you hear me okay?
I can hear you perfect. Yeah.
Okay.
For me, you might have the waves in the background making a lot of noise, but
Well, I think
I'll show you. I'm like sitting on my deck, but it's
I
pretty nice
lost
out
it.
here.
Oh, wow. Nice.
Yeah, it's good.
All right. So I think someone asked, I think I lost between 5 and 10 pounds on this vegan reset. And I wanted to help people understand after the reset how they could start incorporating more foods and the foods that you don't think we should incorporate. So why don't you tell us about that?
Well, first of all, I'm so glad you lost the weight, but that's not the point of the whole plan. The plan is to create health. And when you create health, you lose weight automatically and all these other symptoms go away, right? Your joint pains, fatigue, energy, whatever, I would like to be curious of what you noticed. And everybody walks around with this, what I call FLC syndrome, where they feel like crap. And they don't connect the dots between what they're eating and how they feel. And it could be headaches, digestive issues, joint pain, fatigue, sleep issues, whatever. And the beauty of the reset is it sort of gets you back to your original factory settings. So the goal is when you reintroduce food, how do you do it in a way where you can actually recognize what's helping you or hurting you? So for example, maybe you're not reactive to gluten. Okay, well, so you ate the donuts. Did you get joint pain? Did you feel fatigue? Did you have a headache? What happened? Did your digestion hurt? Or were you just fine? On the other hand, maybe you want to introduce dairy and you go, oh my God, I'm eating dairy, I'm getting congested, my stomach's bloated, I'm getting pimples, I got it, no, that's not good for me. So the idea is to sort of start adding one major thing at a time, giving yourself 3 days in between. So sort of eat, for example, your reset diet and then add in gluten and see what happens. How do you feel? Eat it every day for 3 days. Have pasta and have, whatever, bread. See what happens. And then start with dairy. Eat it for 3 days and see how you feel. And if you notice something is bothering you, that's a clue that you probably should stay off it for a little longer. And you might need to stay off it for 6 months, and then your sensitivity can go down. But for some people, they might need to be off it for a long time. If you eat, every time you eat gluten, your joints hurt and you swell up, well, that's probably a sign your body doesn't like it. It's really a learning process of reintroducing food slowly, and it can take a little time. But if you just kind of go, I'm just going to eat pizza and ice cream like on my day 22, you might not know what's going on. You might be reacting to the nightshades or the gluten or the dairy or whatever. So you don't really know. So you've spent all this time doing this reset. Why don't you just sort of take the time on the back end to sort of slowly ease back and see what really works or doesn't work for you?
I think that's advice. And one thing that I have now done is I no longer in my coffee.
Hallelujah. That's good.
Almond milk, everybody. And and I'm really used to not having super sweet coffee in the morning. Somebody said, why didn't I lose 1 ounce? And I stuck to the Pegan diet for 21 days. Would you like to talk to that nice person, Mark?
Yes. So I wrote a book like a long time ago, 2005, and I talked about the 8 reasons that you might not lose weight if you are correcting your diet, because there's a lot of other things that cause weight gain. And so sometimes it's a little bit of a detective job. It could be your thyroid's not working. It could be your microbiome is really a mess. It could be that you are having hormonal issues that are affecting you. It could be that you're eating something that maybe is still creating inflammation in your body, even though you're a restriction. And so there are a lot of reasons. It could be heavy metals. I mean, I had a woman who was a trainer who was eating perfect and working out all the time, and she just couldn't lose these 40 pounds. We found out she had heavy metals, and we had to get rid of the mercury from her system and allow her metabolism to start working. Because we know that, for example, toxins are what we call obesogens. They're compounds that cause obesity. So maybe your body is just full of these chemicals and metals, and that can have an effect. So it's a bit of a detective job. I wouldn't lose heart. There's always a way to do it. And some people may need a more specified, personalized approach to eating. Maybe some people may need more carbohydrate or less. Some people may need more protein or less, more fat or less, or maybe they can do keto if they're diabetic. So there's some really personalization that happens. This is just a general approach that works for most people, probably 80% of the time. And then the 20% is like it's people who just doesn't work for. So, I mean, you lost basically a half a pound a day, which is pretty good.
Yeah. People want to see your pretty face, Mark. And if you guys have a question, you can send it to me. So let's talk about fruit, because I love fruit, and I'd like to incorporate some more fruits into my diet. And is it okay for us to eat some bananas or like half a banana? Because it makes a world of difference in my smoothie, Mark. It really
of course. So here's the key point, and this is really fascinating knowledge now. We know it's important not only what you eat, but when you eat it. So if you eat something starchy or sugary at the beginning of the meal or at the end of a meal, it's going to have a profoundly different effect on your blood sugar. And now there are these continuous glucose monitors, and I put one on the other day, and I was just curious to see, I wore it for a few weeks and could see, if I eat, for example, I eat a bunch of food on an empty stomach, it'll jack up my blood sugar. But if I have it, at the end of a meal, or I have protein and fat, so my smoothie, I put in protein and fat, and then you get to have your bananas. Yeah. So you got there's. Oh, is that John? Hi, John. How's it going? Good to see you.
Mark, John did the
How did you do?
reset.
What happened?
He looks so much better.
Yeah.
He lost like 8 pounds because
Fantastic.
I told him he was looking like a beach ball. So I told you that.
Oh no. That's a nice compliment. How's your marriage going when you say that?
But hey, I met him. He feels much better and looks much better.
Yeah. Well, it's really about the quality of your life. Actually, it's not really about the weight loss for me. It's about how do people feel and what's the quality of their life. Can they do the things that they love, that they care about? Can they, exercise? Can they do the things that they want to do with their family and their friends? And be feeling vibrant, alive. Like that's what it's about. And when you eat crap, you feel like crap.
That's true. Are you saying that you shouldn't eat bananas first thing in the morning?
No, what I'm saying is that, for example, I make a smoothie in the morning and I put in protein powder, I put in MCT oil, and I put in, a banana, a frozen banana. So that's okay because there's a lot of protein and fat and fiber. So if you eat a fruit in the context of protein, fat, and fiber, that's your antidote to sugar. And anything you eat, if you want to eat something a little more starchy, like if you're eating a sweet potato with dinner, that's okay. But if you have protein and fat, it's way better than just eating an empty stomach. And if you, for example, have a glass of wine before you eat versus at the end of the meal, has profoundly different effects on your body.
That is such a good lesson. So no matter what people are eating, if it has a lot of natural sugar in it, always try to counteract that with the fat and a protein. So for example, I love Honeycrisp apples. Is it okay if I eat a Honeycrisp apple with almond butter?
100%. That's great. Yeah.
So that's a good snack.
That's the trick. Yeah, that's the whole trick. Is we call it the glycemic load of the meal. So the glycemic index is essentially how much a particular food will raise your blood sugar. If you eat a banana on an empty stomach, how much does it cause your blood sugar to go up? Glycemic load is really how much does the overall combination of foods you're eating raise your blood sugar. So you can eat a banana in the context of, maybe banana with peanut butter. Would that be better than just eating the banana? Or a banana in a smoothie with fat and protein, much better.
Oh, John got me three.
Honeycrisp bananas.
Yeah, but you're using
there you go. Is he your food stylist? Katie?
No, just got back, and his kids are coming over for dinner. John is cooking tonight, and we're going to have salmon and spinach, and what else? Bok choy.
Nice, love bok choy. That's great. That's good.
And the one thing, everybody, and then we're going to get to some viewer questions, is, I used to think just have one, maybe two vegetables max. But what I'm starting to do now is one of the things you taught me, have like 3 vegetables. So you can have cauliflower, you can have sauteed spinach, you can bake a cauliflower and have some tahini, and then you can have mushrooms. So in other words, I think we're programmed to think like meat, and maybe a salad. But I think protein, and don't make it the star of your plate, and really do 3 or 4 vegetables even. They fill you up, and it's just so much healthier.
Yeah, I mean, that's exactly right. I think we are, Dan Barber wrote a book called The Third Plate. Dan Barber wrote The Third Plate. Essentially, it's about how, the first plate was you have like a big piece of meat, a string bean, and a baked potato. That's what my burger was. And the meat would be the same. The second plate was like, okay, let's have like grass-fed meat and like still, some better vegetables, but still not great. The third plate is like, most of your plate should be like vegetables with a little portion of protein. And I think that's what I do. Last night, for example, I had these new mushrooms I'm enjoying. They're like trumpet mushrooms, and you slice them and you stir fry them with garlic and olive oil. So good. We had those. We had Chinese long string beans with ginger and mirin. We had Japanese sweet potatoes, and I had a big salad with watercress and sunflower sprouts and radishes and jicama and tomatoes and olive oil vinegar dressing. So we had like 4 or 5 vegetable dishes, and we had a side dish of some scallops, which was a side dish. So it's really important to eat. And you can eat, the good thing is you can eat as much as you want of that stuff. Like you can just eat as much as you want. So I eat till I'm full. I don't restrict my calories. I don't worry about the volume I'm eating. As long as you're eating the right foods, you can eat as much as you want. If you focus on what to eat, you don't have to worry about how much.
Which is really, I think, great. And there's something called volumetrics where you eat a lot and it makes you full. And so I think that's a really good point. Let me go to some of the questions from my friends who have been doing this with me. I've loved doing.
Think about it, Katie. You could eat a whole bag of cookies like that, but if someone gave you a bag of avocados, you probably wouldn't finish it.
No, I wouldn't. Although I was eating a lot of avocados on the reset with my eggs or with tomatoes, and you're right. They do make you feel much fuller. And they're really good for you. And I think my skin got a little bit better.
Yeah.
My eczema got better.
There you go. That's an important thing. You should talk about that because a lot of skin issues that people suffer from and women suffer from, they're coming from the inside out. And you can slather all kinds of creams and lotions and potions on your skin, but unless you deal with the underlying cause of inflammation or irritation in your skin, which is usually your gut, it's usually your diet, it's usually sometimes with eczema, it's often food sensitivities. Dairy is a big one. So I'd be curious to see you start eating dairy again. Oh, my eczema's back. Then you're going to know, oh, I know if I eat cheese or if I have milk, my eczema comes back.
But that brings up a point. I want to ask you 2 quick questions. I promise I'm going to get to every question. If you are going to go back to dairy, is it important to have so I always buy the Greek yogurt that's 0%, right? 0% fat.
Yeah.
Know that you believe when you are eating things, you should eat full fat. Is that correct? Yogurt?
100%. 100%. Well, first of all, there's a wonderful article written by David Ludwig and Walter Willett from Harvard about milk and health.
I know.
And it was yeah, I know you know that. And it was a New England Journal of Medicine article, which basically deconstructed all our mythology about milk and dairy. And one of the things was we should be drinking low-fat milk. In fact, the studies show that those who drink low-fat milk gain more weight, and particularly kids. And the reason is that they don't feel full, so they keep having more and more food. And so fat makes you full. And if you eat good fats, it actually is good for you. Now, dairy fat can be a mixed bag for people. It has saturated fat, but it also has been linked to lower risk of diabetes and other things. And in fact, large studies on butter and other saturated fats. Dari Mazzafarm from Tufts did a large review of, I think, 6 million years of people consuming butter and dairy. And they found those who consumed dairy had lower risk of diabetes and actually no change in heart disease risk. So the thing that I want to focus on with people is quality. So dairy is not dairy, right? If you're eating dairy from a feedlot cow that's pumped full of hormones and antibiotics, that the milk contains pesticides and all sorts of other things, and it's made from cows that are bred in a way to create this homogeneous, like not homogenized milk, but like homogeneous dairy, that has a casein in it called A1 casein, which is super inflammatory, causes digestive issues and all these other issues. If, for example, you eat dairy from a sheep or goat that's grass-fed, it's A2 casein, which may not cause all the same problems as other people. So I can't eat regular dairy, but I can have sheep or goat. For example, I'll get that.
What if we want to drink regular dairy? What should we look for when we're buying it?
Well, there are now companies that make A2 casein milk, which is, you can go A2 milk. I think you can Google A2, like capital A2 milk, letter 2. I mean the word, the number 2. And you can find, for example, Guernsey cows and Jersey cows have more of this A2 casein, which isn't as problematic, or heirloom cows. So there's ways to find it. It's a little trickier, but your average dairy I wouldn't consume.
What about Greek yogurt? Like, I do like Greek yogurt, and I think it's a good substitute for like sour cream and things like that.
Sure. I mean, you can do Greek yogurt, ideally from organic cows, but even organic cows can be A1 casein. They can be milked while they're pregnant, and so on. So it's.
If I get Fage or Chobani, I should get the full fat plain yogurt.
Yeah. But I would say is try the sheep yogurts instead. They're really good. I think I forget the name of the company. I think Old Chatham. It was called the Old Chatham Sheep Herding Company. It was right near where I lived in the Berkshires, and it's great. And it's yummy. It's delicious. It's got good fats, A2 casein. So there's goat yogurt. I'm here on Maui, and there's this local company that has these little local goats that are running around, and I'm having the goat yogurt, and that's fine. So it really depends on what you like, but those are great alternatives.
By the way, John just made me a snack of, and is this almond butter mold? Yeah, it's almond butter. An almond butter. Isn't that nice of him?
That's so nice. You got a great husband.
I do.
Sounds like he's more like a wife, though. He's feeding you, cooking for you.
That is a very gendered comment on your
part. I'm the same. I always say I'll make someone a good wife because I know how to iron and cook and clean and do dishes and cook and do everything.
How about just like a good partner? Let's take the gender out. Oh, now I lose his sound. Wait, Mark.
Just don't cancel. Now I apologize. I've been corrected. Just don't cancel me.
Okay. The other watching women of a certain age, like me, proud of our age, but understanding that happen. You're producing much less, if any, estrogen, and losing a lot of muscle mass. So ergo, you get a lot of belly fat, and you fat replaces some of the muscle. So talk about that and what we can do, because I never had a gut until like a couple of years ago. And now I do, and it's very depressing.
But didn't it go away when you did the reset?
It did. It went away.
Yeah.
I mean, not
Yeah. Well, you maybe need another 21 days. but sometimes it takes a little longer. But the key here is that you can reverse biological age at any age. And I see this over and over. And I've seen it myself. Like I was looking at pictures of me when I was in my 30s, and now I'm 61, and my body is way better and in much better shape and way more muscle because I know more. I was a vegetarian and vegan back then. I was sort of a scrawny kid. And I've learned how to eat to actually build and maintain muscle. And it really comes down to two things. When we age, if we do nothing, there's this entropy where our muscle will decline and we'll lose more muscle. And so if you could be 65 and be the same weight as you were when you were 25, but be twice as fat, you essentially have like ribeye, marbled muscle. And that is bad for you because it creates inflammation, it creates diabetes, cardiometabolic disease, dementia. It's really bad that. And it's the thing that lends people up in the nursing home. It's not often disease. It's that they can't tie your shoes. They can't get up out of a chair. Like just be able to stand up, you know, like without actually pushing or holding on. That's a key. There you go. You can do it. and then if you can't do that, that's why people end up in the nursing home. So the key to keeping your muscle is two things. One is cutting out foods that cause you to marble your muscle, which is basically sugar and starch, right? Sugar and starch, basically think of them as causing like marbled fatty muscle and losing muscle.
Okay.
Protein and fat actually help. And David Ludwig's done a lot of these studies where he showed that basically using high-fat diets, very low carbohydrate diets, actually causes muscle to build, whereas eating the starch causes the opposite. And the other thing is protein. As we age, we need more protein, and we need high-quality protein. And it's hard to get high-quality protein from plants. You can, but often you need extra protein powders. You need to jack up the amounts. You need to have fortified proteins with the right kind of amino acids that help to build muscle. So all the branched chain amino acids that are so key for muscle building are more predominant in animal protein. So you need a lot less than you need like cups and cups of beans to equal like a small palm-sized piece of fish or chicken. So the key is to have protein with every meal and actually increase your protein as you age.
How much muscle mass every year after the age of 60?
It really depends. Like I'm putting on muscle mass and I'm after the age of 60. So
I thought you quoted something in an earlier about the average person losing a certain amount of muscle.
Yeah. I mean, it depends on what you're doing and your activity and your diet, but you can lose, significant amounts of muscle every year. But you don't have to. That's the key. Like I'm 61 and I'm planning to train for the Centenary Olympics, and I'm going to be more fit and muscular at 70 than I am at 60. And I'm committed to it. And it's possible. You have to work harder at it, but it's possible. The body has that capacity.
Okay. John has a question. Molnar, you can come over and join us.
Come on, John.
Because in the morning, I was doing the intermittent fasting. And
Hi.
Hey, Mark. I was doing your intermittent fasting and then your reset. And I was, the first thing I had around 11 o'clock in the morning would be a protein shake. And we bought some very high organic protein powder. He didn't like the taste of it. I didn't bother. There was a protein powder that you recommended. And is that a good way to start the day? Sort of turn off 12 hours and then.
I particularly like it. I mean, I actually was, sort of disgusted with a lot of the protein shakes out there made from, poor quality ingredients or sweetened or, just not great. And so I actually created something called the Pegan shake, which is essentially protein, fat, and fiber. So it has pumpkin seed protein, it has organic pea protein and grass-fed collagen protein, as well as MCT oil and fiber from called acacia fiber, which is great for your microbiome. And it tastes great. I love it. Everybody seems to love it. And you can mix that with frozen food. You can put other things in there, macadamia nut milk. You can put in more protein if you want, like nut butters. And I just love that for breakfast.
Where do you get it?
Where do you get the
you can get it on my website, getpharmacy.com. That's GETFARMACY. Because food is medicine. That's why I say pharmacy.
Okay, I'm going to try that. But the MCT oil, I didn't have that. I had sort of a, it sort of didn't, it had sort of throat a little bit. Has that ever happened? Or
I wonder if you're allergic to coconut. I mean, it could potentially. Usually, it's pretty good. In the shake, you don't really notice it much because it's dried MCT oil.
Or in
And
coffee.
yeah, the coffee you can use it, but it's see what happens when you try the shake, or if it really bothers you, you don't have to take it.
Okay, thanks.
Okay,
Sure.
so Mark, someone wants to know if they can continue on the reset. How many more weeks can I follow the plan? She said she's loving it and she's been feeling really good since she started it. I don't even know if this is start. I can't tell, but
Yeah. I
stay
mean,
on
you
the
can do it. You can do
longer.
it forever. I mean, you can do it forever. I mean, I pretty much eat that way. We had a patient at Cleveland Clinic who was type 2 diabetic, massively overweight. Her body mass index was 43. She had heart failure, diabetes on insulin, kidneys were starting to fail, liver was starting to fail, high blood pressure, had stents put in, multiple medications. Her copay was 20 grand a year. Within 3 days of changing her diet, she was off insulin. Within 3 months, she was off all her medications and lost 43 pounds. And a year, she lost 116 pounds. So she did it for a year to reverse all of these conditions. And you just don't see this. She was on her way to a heart transplant and a kidney transplant and normalized. And you just don't see that with traditional drugs because they're not as powerful as food. When you deliberate about understanding how to use food as medicine, which is the whole point of the Pegan diet, it literally is remarkable.
Someone else, they've been following the Pegan reset 100%. This is similar to an earlier question, but not losing much weight. So is there a way where they could alter something, or could someone doing this be doing something a little bit wrong?
It's possible. There may be certain foods that are still reacting to that are in there, or there may be just other factors that are underlying it. There may be hormonal issues. There may be mitochondrial issues. There may be toxins. There may be nutritional deficiencies. There may be gut issues. So part of the job of a functional medicine doctor is the detective that will sort of figure out when things aren't going the way you expect, what to do. And just as it's hard to determine what's going on with each individual, but I think that's that's an important thing to think about. What are those other things that could be doing that? And I'm happy to I think I can pull it up. I can share with your audience. I'll send you the article I wrote about what are the 8 things that you have to think about if you're not losing weight.
Okay, I'd love to put that in our newsletter.
Yeah, I'll see if I can find it. I wrote it a long time ago, but I'll see if I can find it.
Surface that, but sign up for a call, everybody, at katiecouric.com, and we'll put that article in. Let's do it on Saturday. I'll tell Amanda, who helps us with our Saturday newsletter. She's kind of in charge of it. Okay, here's some more questions. After the reset period, what changes can be made? Adding more protein, perhaps, but what else? Any other changes?
I mean, I think people can start to sort of be flexible. The whole idea is not to be restricted. The whole idea is how do you get your system to be resilient, to have what I call metabolic degrees of freedom or metabolic flexibility, so that if you have a cookie, it's not going to throw you off. It's not going to cause your blood sugar to go through the roof. So how do you become more fit and resilient metabolically? And when you eat this way for a long period of time, you can do that. And then you can, like I have as one of the principles, treat sugar as a recreational drug where you can enjoy treats from time to time. So like I'm here in Maui and they had this vegan macadamia nut ice cream and I was like, oh, this is really good. Someone brought it over. I'm like, okay,
your blood
have it. Yeah, it did spike. It did spike, but it spiked, but I don't have it every night and I had it as a treat. So you don't have to be super restrictive. Just listen to your body. But otherwise, if I had regular ice cream, I know I would develop gas and bloating and I'd probably get pimples and ingestion. But so I kind of pick what I'm doing. And I think that's the other principle people should remember is whatever you're eating, whatever you add back, it just should be real food, right? Just eat real food. I will never eat a Twinkie, right? Will I have a cake that's made at home from scratch from real ingredients? Absolutely. Will I have an upgraded cake that's even better with, for example, protein and fat, for example, almond flour, coconut flour, avocado oil? Sure. And maybe, sweetened with monk fruit or a little bit of honey or maple syrup. Okay. But I'm not going to eat something that's coming from a factory that's full of things that aren't even actually food.
Okay. Some people are asking about oatmeal. I think for people, I love eggs, but I don't want to have them every single day for breakfast. So sometimes I had a smoothie with spinach and berries and almond butter. And I like the collagen powder because I don't like the way protein powder tastes personally.
Yeah, sure.
The flavored ones. But if you did steel cut oatmeal, is that something, if we put nuts on it for protein?
Yeah, for sure. So I think, when you look at that, it depends on you, right? If you are generally healthy, fine. If you're active and exercising, fine. If you're not gluten sensitive, fine. But if you're like most Americans, which are 88% are metabolically unhealthy, that's like 12% of you can probably tolerate oatmeal. The other 88%, there's a real problem. And when you look at the data, David did a study, David Ludwig, where he took overweight kids and he gave them regular oatmeal, steel-cut oats, or an omelet for breakfast. Identical calories. So calories were identical. And then he locked them in a room and he put an IV in and checked their blood every hour. And what he found was that kids who ate the oatmeal were hungrier all day long. They ate 81% more food all day. Even the steel-cut oats, they ate over 50% more food than the people who had the omelet. And their blood sugar spiked, their adrenaline spiked, their insulin spiked. So it was almost like their cortisol spiked. It was almost like the eating the oatmeal was a stress to the body. So if you eat steel-cut oats, yeah, but if you add fat to it and you add protein to it, it's probably better than just having it straight. Like I said, the glycemic load matters. So for some people, it's fine. But I think oatmeal is definitely not necessarily the best breakfast. Protein and fat is going to set you up for the day, so you're not hungry and craving food all the time.
Maybe once in a while, like nuts or peanut butter or something in there.
Yeah.
But I get it. Okay. Somebody asked, what about air frying? Does that destroy the value of the food we're eating?
I don't think it probably does, but it, depends on the food and the high temperature and so forth. So probably for potatoes, probably fine, but for broccoli, I don't know what it does. I actually not an expert in air frying, so I think it's probably better than obviously deep frying.
Yeah, I think it's okay. I think it's okay. A lot of people have emailed saying that, okay, TMI everyone, but hey, a lot of people say they're constipated or bloated. Talk about that, what they can do if they're not, if this is making them not as regular as they'd like.
So I think that being regular is really important and so key to your health. And if you're not, it means one of two things: whether you're not drinking enough water, or not having enough fiber, or maybe you're low in magnesium. So upping your water intake, making sure you're eating more fiber. You can have flax seeds, chia seeds, all kinds of nuts and seeds are great fibers. And then actually making sure that you're having enough magnesium, because 45% of Americans are deficient in magnesium, which can make you have all sorts of other symptoms besides constipation, muscle cramps, headaches, irritability. So getting magnesium citrate really helps. And if you're doing this diet and you're not pooping, you're in trouble. So that's really important to poop.
You can get powdered magnesium and mix it in water too, which helps you sleep and helps your digestive system, correct?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, I know you've got to go. We've been notified by your assistant. I have to go too, but you know what, Mark? Why don't we keep talking? And
I'm down. We can do this all regularly.
I'm
happy to.
now, but maybe we can get more questions. Maybe you'll. I know we're wrapping up. They're all telling me to wrap. Okay,
That's okay. It's okay. It's okay.
But maybe you could at some point in our newsletter, we'll put a bunch of questions in a couple of weeks. For people who are still really working hard. And can I just say, I'm really proud of everybody who did this. And I actually was very inspired by everyone following the plan, made me stay honest and made me stay on it. So I wish we could get to more questions. Oh, people love your protein powder. And I think that's it. But thanks, Mark, for
course.
helping.
Thank you for doing it. I'm glad you did it, and I'm glad you feel benefits, and I'm glad your arthritis is better, your eczema is better, and you lose weight and you feel better. Like, that's the whole point.
Yeah, I do feel much better. I have to. It's inspiring me, except for that one little donut and In-N-Out burger day. It's inspiring me to eat better every day.
Yeah.
And really, but by the way, and you don't have to answer this now, but sometimes this is very expensive, like organic beef, organic.
Yeah.
And I have heard from some of my followers, when you're on a budget, this is not an easy meal.
Well, I think there is a chapter in the book. One of the principles is how to eat, in a way that's affordable, and it takes a little more effort, but it's really possible. And I think when you don't have to have the most expensive everything, but just eating real food is the first principle. Eating real food, and there's a good guide from the environmental working groups called "Good Food on a Tight Budget," which guides you on which foods to choose that are the least expensive and the most nutritious and good for you and the planet and your wallet. So it's doable. It just takes a little more, thinking.
I see if we can publish that too. You send me the link to that.
Sure. Absolutely.
We'll put that newsletter as well. Okay, everybody. Mark, big kiss.
Thanks, Katie.
Not
Bye.
baby. I'll talk to you soon.
See you soon. Okay, bye.
Bye.